Hey everyone, what's up? Yesterday, everybody pretty much did a video on it yesterday, and as you can see, I'm going to talk about it too. Um, but basically, the questions that some people posted up at various websites like Facebook and Twitter, and even here at YouTube, and some various wrestling sites, and even WWE.com. The question was, where were you on June 27th, 2011? Basically, 1 year ago. And to be quite honest, for me, I was here. I was here watching Monday Night Raw. Um, I had basically gotten kind of interested in the storyline they were going with CM Punk. I mean, for him to get the title shot and everything, I thought, well, originally at first I thought, well, I'm interested in it. I might order it, because see what happens. Um, but then when they allow Punk to Punk to when they allow Punk to do the shoot that he did, or the work shoot, whatever you want to call it, it was that really got me interested. That got me thinking, holy shit, you know, they don't really allow people to do anything like this unless they got something big planned for this individual. Well, surprise, surprise, they did. They did have something planned for CM Punk. And what was so unique about this was they allowed him, even though it was a work shoot and he had guidelines, and true, he had to be cut off a little bit. Move the mic down a little bit like that. But he had to be cut off a little bit due to, kind of going overboard. I mean, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's saying things. I mean, here's the thing, I didn't even know if it was a work shoot or not. I mean, usually if it is a work shoot, you pretty much know that because they allow the mic to stay on. If it's a real shoot, they're like, cut the mic. And but just to, but just for them to allow him to say the things that he did was was unreal. I mean, for me, it's like here he is talking about how he's going to win the title, talking about he's going to take it away from the company, go defend it probably in New Japan, All Japan, Ring of Honor, you know, and he even waves hi to Colt Cabana. And to me, it was like, whoa, not even WCW rarely did this. You know, you don't really allow. To me, I've been a fan for a long time, and from what I understand, by getting a better understanding of the inside of the business, with the internet and everything over the past decade or so, is that you don't really allow somebody like a CM Punk to go out and do a work shoot unless you know it's not going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you or your company. And unless you feel it's going to get this person over. And what was so unique about this whole scenario was he also talked about he was talking how he was basically saying things we felt. And everybody has said that in all the videos so far. He was saying things that we felt. He was saying that he was sick and tired of the backstage politics, basically, how everything's political this way and that. That basically, something like Vince should just come out and admit that hey, Triple H's step's gonna be taking over in his place soon. It's like holy shoot! It's like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. To be honest with you, I was like, whoa. I mean, I was reading this. Here's the honest truth. I was reading this on NoDQ.com because just like RingsideNews.com, they always give you They always give you live results and everything. And when I read about the shoot, I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, excuse me, what did that just say? What did I just read? So that's why I tuned in and recorded it. I think I recorded it, and I listened to what CM Punk said. And I was like, I mean, my mouth nearly dropped. I couldn't. I mean, he was basically bombing. He was basically pipe bombing and shooting like, even though it was a work shoot, he was basically saying things that normally nobody else would be able to say. And what was unique about this too was it kind of allowed this rivalry, this kind of this feud, this rivalry he is having with John Cena. Not only did he allow it to be reinvigorated, if you will, but it allowed the rivalry to be a little bit more real. Because every time you had CM Punk and John Cena in the same vicinity, you allowed them to shoot almost, or do a work shoot, if you will, amongst each other. I mean, I like how, like, I think it was during the contract signing or something where John Cena's like, kind of mentioning. I mean, John Cena himself, it brought out the best in Cena, believe it or not. It had John Cena kind of acknowledge that the fans out there want him to bring out his heelish personality, be a bad guy, and everything. And when he said that during that contract signing, the place erupted. Well, mainly the male demographic erupted because that's what they wanted. They're like, yes, that's what we want you to do. But of course, Cena went on to say, hey, no matter what people say, I'm still going to be me, no matter what. But the way things were done with Punk was like, I can't fathom anymore how well it was done. It made me order what supposedly was a B level pay per view in Money in the Bank, an in your house like pay per view, and that thing turned out to be good. I don't know about this year's Money in the Bank. That's an entirely different story. I mean, if I don't get Money in the Bank this year, definitely going to get SummerSlam. Still, uh, but still, the thing is, it surprised me. It really, really surprised me that not only did this whole reinventing and this whole rejuvenation of CM Punk's character through that work shoot and everything allow even people like John Cena to kind of shoot or work shoot a little bit in, like, say, the contract signing and all that. But it even allowed John Cena, like the day after Money in the Bank, to look at Vince McMahon in the face and say, "Hey, basically tell him, hey, this is what I love, and this is what I love to do. I'm part of this company, but if you fire me, hey, I'll just take my talents elsewhere, brother." And when he said brother, that pretty much kind of gave you an idea. He was referencing TNA, Impact Wrestling. He was saying, basically, and here's the thing: a lot of people feel, WWE doesn't have a problem with TNA. That's why they didn't have a problem with Christian going there. That might be true. That might be true in some sense, but but let's not look the gift horse in the mouth. That was all part of the whole Ric Flair deal. In reality, TNA, WWE looks at TNA as a possible threat. Not a real threat yet, but a possible one. That's why they're very weary about the things they say. Very weary. So, or allowing other companies to be mentioned. So for Cena at that time to say what he said, acknowledging Impact Wrestling, basically, through that, if you're a fan and you're watching this, you're like, holy shit, John Cena's saying, hey, you fire me, I'll go to Impact Wrestling and take my talents. I'll take my talents and who I am down to Impact Wrestling. So that's kind of like, to me, that was kind of like a first in a way. Not just with CM Punk, but kind of a first when you have your own franchise player, your own face of the company, in sort of a work shoot bits, acknowledge that, hey, I'll go down to that Impact Wrestling company you don't take seriously, and I'll make it a threat to you if you fire me. I mean, that's the way I looked at it. But the whole situation with CM Punk though was just done tremendously. I mean, I love how after CM Punk wins the WWE Championship, after he wins the WWE Championship, everybody acknowledges he blows a kiss to Vince, saying, "Hey, kiss your title goodbye." Walks out, walks through the crowd, walks out of the arena, and then I like how the next night when they do on Raw, when they're doing this whole tournament to crown a new champion, and they're saying, "Hey, that championship CM Punk has is nothing now; it's a memorial kind of deal." I like how CM Punk gets on his iPod or his iPhone or whatever and tweets a picture of him at a Chicago Cubs game saying, "What's this?" Kind of asking this question like, "What's this whole deal about crowning a new champion? The champ's right here." you know, I mean, I love that, and I love how he goes to Comic-Con, interrupts Triple H and Rey Mysterio's Q&A and says, kind of does a little bit of a work shoot there, whatever you want to call it. And then to cap it all off, 3 days before his eventual 3 days before his return, and I'll get into that in a minute, he shows up at an independent show, which in a building that houses about or seats or houses about maybe 100, 150 people, and he gets called out by Colt Cabana after Cabana teams up with this wrestler who has this disease or something like that. I can't think of their name right now. And that was a surprise. Because here you had the guy that was the WWE champion, you knew eventually was still coming back, but here he was, within the same week, within 7 days of winning the title, and all of a sudden, 7 days later, he's at an independent show. It's like, whoa. And everybody was talking about it. And here was the thing, everybody was talking about each and every moment. They were talking about his tweet from the Chicago Cubs game. They were talking about his invasion at the Comic-Con, interrupting Triple H and Rey Mysterio's Q&A, and about him going to this independent show, which was a real surprise. But then, of course, came 3 days later, Monday Night Raw. Rey Mysterio ends up winning the WWE Championship for the first time, loses it about 2 hours later, and then within that 2 hours, what happens? Not only do we have a new champion in John Cena again, but we end up having CM Punk return. And CM Punk returns not to his This Fire Burns deal, but returns to Cult of Personality by Living Color, which many people have acknowledged or have said he's used before in Ring of Honor and other independent shows. And so after that, the match is set, right? CM Punk, John Cena for the WWE Championship, undisputed wise, at SummerSlam. Of course, CM Punk wins that, he becomes the champion, but then comes the moment people are pissed about. People feel that WWE is basically pissed on CM Punk with. CM Punk wins, only to be jackknifed a few moments later. ADR, Del Rio comes out, cashes in, walks out champion. And again, this is what pissed a lot of fans off. Because here you had a great storyline, no doubt about it, a great storyline, a great development, a great development in character with CM Punk. And basically, in the eyes of a lot of fans, WWE pissed all over that. They pissed all over that. By having Nash come out, jackknife CM Punk, and then allow Del Rio to become champion. And then, once again, pretty much, a lot of fans, including Schleg Daddy, put it this way, WWE had, for about 3 months, had CM Punk become a glorified jobber. They had him lose in the main event at Night of Champions. They had him lose at Hell in a Cell. They had him, well, not Hell in a Cell, they had him lose along with Triple H at Vengeance. I think it was Vengeance. I'm not really sure. I think it was. Yeah, it was Vengeance. They had him lose at Hell in a Cell, and then finally they have him win at Survivor Series. So basically, when you think about it, he wins at SummerSlam but also loses. So that's one job. Loses at Night of Champions, 2. Vengeance, 3. Uh, Hell in a Cell, 4. So technically, you have 4 pay-per-views in a row that he lost, including SummerSlam, which he won at, then lost. And again, that's what pissed a lot of fans off. It's the fact that you had CM Punk, because here you had CM Punk, who you were basically building stuff around, and now all of a sudden you're having him job out again, which really pissed a lot of fans off. But then the moment came of clarification. The moment came to where WWE finally realized CM Punk is indeed a hot commodity. Fans do like the guy. Let's put the title back on him in Madison Square Garden at Survivor Series, and that's what they did. And he's held the title since then. Now, some people have said, even Jeff on the Off the Rope show has said this, there are some fans that have seemingly turned against Punk because instead of being what he said he was going to be, the voice of the voiceless, the pipe bomb expert and all that, here he was just being another member of the Breakfast Club, as the people put it. Basically being a sellout. But you know what? What I notice is I don't notice that. I notice people still pop for the guy. They like him. Because they know he's not the same CM Punk he was before. Yeah, he's a little bit of the Breakfast Club, but it's also a mixture. He's like Breakfast Club / anti-establishment. Get what I'm saying? Basically, he's kind of like the anti-Breakfast Club establishment. Like, yeah, he'll get along with the likes of Cena and Orton and all that on camera and maybe off camera, but he's also kind of an anti-establishment, like saying, hey, if I gotta face, John Cena and all that, so be it. I'll beat the poster boy. That. I mean, he won't mind saying his own words. And I wouldn't be surprised, because CM Punk has said that he's got some leeway now. I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk's the one that suggested, hey, let me do a program with Daniel Bryan. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But again, just like Jeff said, I understand there's a lot of fans that turned against it. I mean, I used an example in one of my messages at a Sonic site where I talked about the whole Mecha Sally deal, and I compared that to the CM Punk situation, to where CM Punk's situation seems to be, in the eyes of some, not many, but in the eyes of some, seems to be dying out. But then again, you got many of the fans that like what's going on. Or something like that. But anyway, to me, I don't think WWE has completely dropped the ball on CM Punk. I don't think they have. And when CM Punk came out the night after Survivor Series and said the days of the WWE Championship going and being a game of hot potato is over, he was right. Basically, WWE realized, you know what? He's going to go out, he's going to say this, and he's got a point. They're realizing, oh shit, CM Punk's right. We shouldn't be playing hot potato with this because it's devaluing this very championship. We should make it important. And that's why he's kept it as long as he has. The only question is he going to keep it after Money in the Bank? Well, according to several sources, he's scheduled to probably face the Big Show or somebody at SummerSlam. So I'm guessing yes. Yes, he's going to keep it after Money in the Bank. Will he keep it after SummerSlam? God only knows. I mean, the best option for WWE, in my opinion, is they need to keep CM Punk with that championship, give him a year-long reign, and see what happens. And then, probably at Survivor Series this year, have him drop the title to either, as much as I hate to say it, Cena. Well, I don't really hate to say it because I am a fan of Cena, but as much as some people would hate to say it, to Cena, or maybe drop it to somebody else. Maybe drop it to maybe drop it to a Chris Jericho if Jericho's still around, or drop it to a Kane maybe, or maybe even to a Big Show. Who knows? or hell, you got them coming back. Drop it to a Miz. Drop it to a Rey Mysterio. You know, to me, either way, in my personal opinion, they should let Punk at least run with it for a year until about Survivor Series, then have him drop it. Because that would definitely bring some value back to the championship. You'd be like, oh man, Punk's been holding it for a year. Oh, I'm glad he's champion, but when is somebody going to take it off him? And then boom, Survivor Series. There's your opportunity. But overall, as far as my thoughts on the whole CM Punk pipe bomb deal last year, again, my mouth just dropped. I mean, I was in shock when I read it, and when I watched it, I was still in shock. It just blew my mind. It just blew my mind. He was just I mean, to hear him go off the way he did, and then to have to be cut off because he was going a little overboard, going beyond his guidelines, it was a real shocker. It was a real shocker. And I do admit, you know, it would have been great if WWE could have held off on his return until at least SummerSlam, or to maybe at least Night of Champions. It would have made the whole storyline more important. But then again, this is WWE, and I think in reality, just to be honest with you, I think they had this whole thing planned out from the beginning. I'm just saying. Excuse me. I'm just saying. It's what I feel. It's what I feel. I think they've had this whole thing planned out from the beginning, but I could be wrong. You see, WWE, whether we want to admit it or not, they have a way of really pulling at us. And if this whole allowing CM Punk to do his own thing, not be on television for about a week, let him go to this independent show, let him invade Comic-Con and all that. Hey, if that was all part of the deal between them and Punk, even if Punk wasn't under contract, then so be it. It was brilliantly done. And if they could have held it off, like I said, you know, for a few weeks later, a few more weeks, or to at least maybe Night of Champions or SummerSlam, it would have made it even better. But this is WWE we're talking about, so you know you got to go with you got to deal with what they give you. You know, if they give you shit, you got to deal with shit. If they give you gold, you got to deal with gold. You know. And as far as CM Punk jobbing the way he did until Survivor Series last year, I think in a sense what it was WWE, because they do meet with the superstars, either the anti-establishment or not. They probably met with CM Punk and said, look, we allowed you to do this thing. I mean, here's what I'm thinking. They probably had this whole thing worked out. Maybe not. And like I said, they probably had a deal worked out to where even if he's not under contract, they could still follow up on what's going on. Here's my situation. Here's the way I look at it. I think they had some kind of agreement made when they finally signed his new contract and said, look, you can win at SummerSlam, but then we let you say what you wanted to say before Money in the Bank and all that, blah blah blah. You know, we're letting you come back. We're gonna let you. You know, they probably had things worked out, but like I said, they probably didn't really sign the contract until maybe that week or something. But they didn't acknowledge it or anything, which was a good. To me, it was a good thing on their part. But honestly, the point I'm trying to make is, I think when this whole situation went down from the work shoot, which was unbelievable and everything, to him being gone for a week, whether he was still under contract, a new one or not, which I don't know. It's kind of that's still up for debate. I'm thinking there was some kind of deal going on, and he was just not under contract, but there was still kind of some kind of deal going on. But my thing is, when he came back and he did sign his official new contract, they probably made a deal. They probably said, look, they probably looked at him and said, Phil, here's the thing. We allowed you to say what you wanted to say. We allowed you to do what you wanted to do. So now you got to do this for us. And maybe that's why the whole job thing happened. To basically be like, now you're going to have to job for us after you win at SummerSlam. Okay, here's the thing. You're going to win at SummerSlam. Nash is going to come in, powerbomb you. ADR is going to come in, cash in, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to lose in the next few pay-per-views. So it'll be like a lesson to those backstage that you don't go against us. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. I know a lot of you would disagree with it, but that's the way I look at it from my opinion. So again, I'm pretty sure some may not agree with me on it, but I think honestly there was a deal, contract, non-contract wise, between the two who during the week he was gone, and I'm guessing on the weekend, as Triple H said, they did sign him back, allow him to have the leeway that he had, allow him to say the things that he wanted to say, and all that, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff, and allow him to have control over his upcoming DVD, which comes out later this year. So my guess is, that's why he jobbed out, because there was some kind of deal made. That, hey, we'll let you say what you want to say. We'll let you come back the way you want to come back. We'll let you come back with with the theme, with Cult of Personality as your theme and all that, and let you be more, non-scripted at times. But you got to do this for us. That's my thoughts. My opinion. My opinion. I know some people may disagree with that, but it's my opinion. But anyway, the thing was, overall, I thought it was a tremendous moment in wrestling history, because not many companies will allow someone like a CM Punk to go out and voice the frustrations on live television, shoot or work shoot or not. Not many companies will allow that to happen. Not many companies will allow a wrestler to say, hey, I'm going to win this championship and I'm going to go to another company, either go back to my company that I made a name for myself in Ring of Honor, or I'm going to go to Japan, or I'm going to go to one of the two Japan promotions and defend it there. Not many companies will allow you to do that. So overall, my thoughts are, it really shaked a lot of things. It shook a lot of things up. I mean, when you think about it, people talk about the fact that when this happened, Ring of Honor put up the best of Punk. Ring of Honor TNA put up the best of Punk, because they both had him at separate times. So you're thinking, wow, both these companies are putting up video libraries of CM Punk, and this is all after what he did. And I guess I'm guessing also as teasers as the possibility that they might be able to grab him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would have loved, to be honest with you, I would have loved seeing CM Punk, still with the championship, show up at a Ring of Honor television event or an pay-per-view with that belt to sort of continue the storyline. I would have loved to seen that. I would have loved to seen it, but it didn't happen. The only thing he did was show up at Comic-Con and show up at that independent show. But if they would have allowed him to do the Ring of Honor thing, that would have been huge. But to me, that's why these video libraries were also put up by both companies, to kind of tease people at the fact that if this whole situation was the real deal, they might be able to nab Punk. You know what I'm saying? Again, though, overall, it really did shake the industry. Because now you're seeing a lot of companies take more chances. I mean, look at Ring of Honor. Look at Ring of Honor. They're allowing someone that, on camera, storyline-wise, is anti-authority. Kevin Steen to be their champion. And a guy that, from some aspects, as some people would put it, and it's even acknowledged on Ring of Honor television, doesn't even have the look of a wrestler. But yet here he is, your World Heavyweight Champion of Ring of Honor. And he's anti-establishment. Do you think Ring of Honor would have done that a year ago? Hell no. Hell no, they wouldn't have done that. But because of what CM Punk did, they're doing it. They're doing it. Look at Bobby Roode. You knew eventually he was going to be champion, but do you think they would allow him to say some of the things he's done? Do you think they would have allowed Daniels and Kazarian to do the things they've done with Dixie and AJ, and Bobby has done the same things with Dixie, and so on and so forth? Do you think they would allow him to do the things they're doing right now? Probably not. But it's all thanks to what Punk did that shook up the industry. So, in my opinion, it did send shockwaves, not just through the WWE, to where now you have a little bit more, have a mixture, as J.J. Williams and Jeff Meacham put it, more of the kind of an attitude era mixed in with the PG era, so you got kind of like a PG-13 product on the edge of being an R-rated product. Not much, but a kind of a PG-13, edgy PG-13 product. To where now you had Kane smothering people with his glove. He has his mask back on. He's smothering people. He's acting like the Kane of old. You got AJ Lee's going like, acting very Attitude Era divish like at times. So, I mean, heck, you got Maxine acting the same. Maxine at times doing that same stuff. I mean, let's not forget that. So to me, it has sent shockwaves and still continues to do so. Will they allow Punk or somebody else to do the same thing down the line? Sorry, I hit the mic there with my foot. Uh, Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again. Because they know if it worked once, it'll work again. I guarantee you. I guarantee you it's going to happen. In fact, I'm telling you right now, mark this day down. June 28th, 2012, I'm letting you know that sooner or later, before this year's out or around next year, someone in the WWE, whether it's a new up-and-coming star, or whether it's someone that's been established in the WWE for years, or even on the independents and has come to WWE and become a star, someone's going to pipe bomb once again. And if it's Punk again, that's great. If it's Daniel Bryan, that'd be even better. Well, not as better, but it'd be just as great. If it's anybody else, like a Seth Rollins or Cassius Ohno or Antonio Cesaro or whoever, someone's going to do it. Mark it down. I guarantee you it's going to happen soon. Either before this year's out or around next year, someone's going to pipe bomb that company in another memorable shoot. So, that's all I'm going to say. And tell me what you guys think. And I'll talk to you all later. Sorry for the quick interruption.